Hotep. How y'all doing out there? Kevin X back at you again, reporting on some more information about the Bible. On this video, I guess I'll just name this God did not write the Bible, man did. And I have some information that I want to share with you concerning the writings of this Bible. This is called the documentary hypothesis, which you can find that in the encyclopedia. Look that up. Documentary hypothesis. Check it out. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to do my best. But just listen to this and what it says about this hypothesis. It says the documentary hypothesis, DH, sometimes called the well-housing hypothesis, proposes that the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible, was derived from originally independent, parallel, and complete narratives, which were subsequently combined into the current form by a series of redactors, that's editors. The number of these narratives is usually set as 4, but this is not an essential part of the hypothesis. The hypothesis was developed in the 18th and 19th centuries. That's very key. The hypothesis was built in the 18th and 19th centuries from the attempt to reconcile inconsistencies in the Bible's text. By the end of the 19th century, it was generally agreed there were 4 main sources combined into their final form by a series of redactors. These 4 sources came to be known as the Yahwist or Jawas, J being the German equivalent of the English letter Y, the Elohist, E, the Deuteronomist, D. The name comes from the book of Deuteronomy, D's contributing to the Torah, and the priestly writer, P. The contribution of Julius Wellhausen, a Christian theologian and Christian biblical scholar, was to order the sources chronologically as JEDP, giving them a coherent setting in a notional, evolving religious history of Israel, which he saw as one of ever-increasing priestly power. Now, I'm going to come back to that, but I'm going to read this. This is called the Religious Cosmology. I don't know if you can see that. Religious Cosmology. Camera a little blurry, I'm going to have to set it. But it says Religious Cosmology. A mythological cosmology is a way of explaining the origin, the history, and the evolution of the cosmos or universe based on religious mythology, a specific tradition. Religious cosmology usually include an act or process of creation by a creator deity or a larger pantheon. But it says biblical cosmology. The Bible was formed over many centuries by many authors and reflects shifting patterns of religious belief. Consequently, its concept of cosmology are not always consistent, nor should the Bible text be taken to represent the beliefs of all Jews or Christians at the time they were put into writing. The majority of those making up Hebrew Bible, let me read that. The majority of those making up the Hebrew Bible, or Old Testament in particular, represent the beliefs of only a small segment of the ancient Israelite community. The members of a late Judean religious tradition centered in Jerusalem and devoted to the exclusive worship of Yahweh. Now that's these Jewish people, but let's get back to this. It says the Yahwist. This is these people that created this Yahweh. The Yahweh source, J, hypothetically written circa 950 BCE. in the southern kingdom of Judah. Now, if God created the world in 4004 BC, and Abraham was born in 2000 BC, why is they just writing this? Well, let's go on. Hypothetically written, the Ilios. This is the Iliim source, hypothetically written in circa 850 BCE in northern kingdom of Israel. The Deuteronomist, hypothetically written circa 600 BCE in Jerusalem during a period of religious reform. The priestly source, hypothetically written circa 500 BCE by Kohanim, Jewish priests in exile in Babylon. While these hypotheses has been increasingly challenged by other models, especially in the last part of the 20th century, its terminology and insights continue to provide the framework for modern theories on the composite natures and origins of the Torah and the Bible compilation in general. The Torah is the first 5 books. Them the first 5 books that they used to make the Bible. God had nothing to do with it. These people start taking, you can look this up. This is documentary hypothesis, and you know, if you've seen some other videos, my subject is trying to get people to realize that God didn't create no heaven and no earth in no beginning at no 4004 BC. As I had stated in some of my videos, I try to clarify different dates of that 4004 BC. I actually had somebody on Facebook telling me the Bible doesn't have dates for when God created the Bible. If you haven't seen a book with a Bible with the dates in it, then you already lost, and that's how they've been tricking you. There are books with the Bible dates. The reason that you don't have the books because they keep this hidden from you so you won't find out the truth. Your pastor has this book. It's called the Reference Bible. Go to your bookstore and buy it. And you'll find out that these dates do not meet African kingdoms and things of this nature. And in the Bible it says that God created the world in 4004 BC. But I explained this in another one of my videos. This is the Badari culture. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the Badari culture. And this culture, the Badari culture, provides the earliest direct evidence of agriculture in Upper Egypt during the pre-dynastic era. It flourished between 4,400 and 4,000 BCE and might have already existed as far back as 5,000 BCE. It was first identified in El Badari as Suez. Now, they always talking about, well, if God, I say that God ain't create no heavens and no earth in 4004 BC. And when we go back to the Deuteronomist and this Yahweh stuff, these Jews didn't start writing these Bibles till 950 BC, all the way down to 500 BC. They was working on this Bible. But look, this is the late Bronze Age, around 1200 BCE. We'll show this to you. I had it in another one of my videos. Probably can't see it. I don't know why that's blurry like that. But you can look this up. It's called The History of Ancient Israel and Judah. That's what that is. The Ancient History of Israel and Judah. I got that light coming in from the window. It's so bright. But it's the history of ancient Israel and Judah. You can find this, but they have a section, Iron Age 1. And they have a section that says, the name Israel first appears in the stele of the Egyptian pharaoh Meneptah, circa 1209 BCE. Israel is laid waste, and his seed is no more. This Israel was a cultural and probably political entity of the Central Highlands, well enough established to be perceived by the Egyptians as a possible challenge to their hegemony but an ethnic group rather than an organized state. Archaeologist Paula McNutt says it is probably during Iron Age 1 that a population began to identify itself as Israelite, differentiating itself from its neighbors via prohibitions on intermarriage and emphasis on family history and genealogy and religion. In the late Bronze Age, there were no more than about 25 villages in the highlands, but this increased to over 300 by the end of Iron 1, while the settled population doubled from 20,000 to 40,000. Now, it says, in the Bible Unearthed, Finkelstein and Silverman summarized recent studies. They described how up until 1967, the Israelites' heartland in the highlands of western Palestine was virtually an archaeological terra incognita. Since then, the traditional territories of the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh have been covered by intensive surveys. The surveys have revealed the sudden emergence of a new culture contrasting with Philistine and Canaanite societies existing in the land of Israel early during the Iron Age 1. This new culture is characterized by the lack of pork remains, whereas pork formed 20% of the Palestine's diet in places, and abandonment of Philistines' Canaanites' customs of having highly decorated pottery, and the practice of circumcision. The Israelite ethnic identity had been created, not from the Exodus story in the Bible and a subsequent conquest, but from a transformation of the existing Canaanite Philistine cultures. Other words, it's saying that, these people couldn't have been in the Exodus story in the Bible because they wasn't born yet. They didn't come till 1200 BC. The Exodus story starts in 1706 BC. Egypt would have been in its 10th dynasty. By the time these people was born, they had already had Merneptah. He was a pharaoh, still in Egypt ruling. And this is the 19th dynasty, Egypt. And it reigns between 1213 to 1203 BC. This is when these Israelites is first coming here. Now, we can also get into what we have is the Middle Ages. I hate when this happens. It was just right here. Yeah, I have an article with the Middle Ages where we have these dates. What do I do with that? There we go. Middle Age. Still missing something. Okay, here we go. Middle Stone Age. This is what we have. I'm just reading this and concerning that this guy was created the heavens and the earth and Adam and Eve in 4004 BC. That's bullshit. It says the Middle Stone Age was a period of African prehistory between early Stone Age and late Stone Age. It is generally considered to have begun around 280,000 years ago and ended around 50 to 25,000 years ago. And as some such researchers consider this to be the beginnings of the Middle Stone Age, it was once considered roughly equivalent to the European Middle Paleolithic, but recent discoveries of evidence for art and symbolic culture in the Middle Stone Age have forced a reassessment of this idea. Now, I'm just saying that we have all of these things that's over 200,000 and thousands of years old. Why would somebody want to create a story talking about they created the earth in 4004 BC and gave Abraham is the king of the Jews and Moses this and Moses that. Abraham and Moses never existed. They got here late. Them Jews created that bullshit 900 BCE. You know what I mean? That's exactly what they did. And Islam, Judaism is nothing but a pro-British. They are Abrahamic religions. Without the Jews giving their religion to the Arabs, it wouldn't be no Islam. You know, the Jews created Islam for the Muslims, and people start needing to really get into these dates and find out who you are, and challenge me on this stuff, because the Bible is not a history book. It is a book full of lies. It is a book full of time periods that didn't exist. That's why in a lot of Bibles they don't even have the time period. But it's just something I had wanted to throw on you. But this is part two, that the Bible is a lie. Greatest lie ever told. This is part 2. But I'll be coming back with a part 3 on a few other things. But just to put something on you, show you that I'm on top of this. And, you know, we have to stop sharing this, start sharing this with each other and start doing the research and stop putting this madness on our children, telling them that it's a hell, and somebody died to save them. Didn't nobody die. I expressed that in part 1 of this series, what I'm doing about these lies that's in the Bible, because it's really ridiculous how they have people responding to them. And my goal is to really get people to see how ridiculous that they really are, and then half the people, don't even read these books and just go by it. Anytime that you don't know that the Bible has dates in it, it's a book that they hiding from you. You need to get a copy of that book at the bookstore. And stop having people, having you pick certain scriptures that apply to you. People be telling me, I read them stuff, oh, it's not in the Bible. That's not in the Bible. It's in the Bible. You just don't want it in the Bible. A lot of people, they see things that they never knew was in the Bible, and then they try to say that it wasn't there, because they get a daily dose of what that pastor give to them, and what the television give to them. And they give you just doses to keep you on edge and have you in fear of an invisible damn God, because it's the only thing they talking about really is the sun, and everything else is to control your mind. The first lie of the Bible is that God created the heavens and the earth in 4004 BC. The second one is that he created Adam and Eve. And it goes on. Everything else of that is a lie. Abraham never existed. And then if he did, he was going to have Abraham cut his son's throat. That's what I expressed in my other one, But everywhere he took these Israelites in Moses, which was a murderer, he took them to murder more people. After giving him these law books, don't kill, he sent him around to kill people. It does not make sense in this book. And people need to start reading, because he's killing children, male and female, adults. Killing them all through the Bible. That's all the Israelites do. Go take people's shit after 40 years being in the desert. But just something to put on you. But until next time, see stuff up and be looking for part 3. I'll be getting back to you real soon. Hotep. Thanks for listening.